China's corruption is more hidden and complex than outsiders often imagine. Recent news underscores this reality. On October 17th, the Ministry of National Defense announced that 9 senior generals were simultaneously expelled from the party and the military, an extremely rare event in Chinese history. Among them were the vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, commanders, and political commissars of various branches, covering almost the entire top tier of the military. The official statement characterized the action as serious violations of discipline and law, involving especially large sums with extremely severe consequences, emphasizing an anti-corruption campaign that is zero tolerance, full coverage, yet the process remains highly opaque. From the perspective of an ordinary Chinese citizen, the pervasiveness of corruption is palpable. One often hears people say in passing, a government official who doesn't take bribes is a fool. This reflects a cultural environment where corruption is not only common, but socially normalized, reinforcing the challenges of establishing accountability and transparency. In fact, calls for officials to publicly disclose their assets have persisted for years. Ordinary Chinese citizens, scholars, and even members of the National People's Congress have repeatedly proposed implementing asset transparency to allow public oversight. Yet the government has consistently resisted, leaving disclosure channels extremely limited and information tightly controlled. This contradiction, constant public demand for oversight versus government reluctance, reflects the severity of corruption in China and the system's intransigence. The boundaries between power and wealth remain largely invisible, making high-level corruption difficult to detect. Corruption takes many forms. Beyond direct bribery and embezzlement, it includes rent-seeking, opaque allocation of projects and resources, and networks of influence through family and local connections. Ordinary citizens perceive corruption mostly through news reports, investigative pieces, or sporadic official announcements, lacking systematic data, which makes corruption appear both widespread and hard to quantify. Every high-profile purge shocks the public, but it represents only the tip of the iceberg. Publicized cases disrupt some power networks but cannot fully resolve the problem because institutional transparency and systematic oversight are absent. Corruption continues to lurk deep within the chains of power. For Western observers trying to understand China's political and social system, 2 points are crucial. First, corruption is widespread at both high and local levels, with deep-ranging effects. Second, the lack of public asset disclosure and institutional oversight makes corruption more hidden, harder to measure, and reliant on party-led campaign-style anti-corruption efforts. The persistent public demand and the government's avoidance itself form a systemic contradiction, revealing the real ecology of power. Recognizing this helps contextualize every news event within China's broader social and political landscape.